Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned. Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Thank you, Ellie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Safe and Sound on the Learn Live platform. Thank you for joining us today. This week we have, in no particular order, Tamworth Borough Council, HMV Training Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service and supporting communities. I'll be asking you a question after each topic, and hopefully you or your teacher can enter your answer in the live text area of the screen, together with your school's name, please. Answers at the end of the programme. So let's get started with Ken talking about fire safety.
Hi again, Ken Tillett, Staffordshire Fire and Rescue. I want to talk to you now about Christmas candles. Very important that we stay safe over the Christmas period. What we need to say about candles is that if you're going to light candles and put them around, they should be at least 4 inches apart, and they should be about 3 feet away from any wooden shelf surface that might be above it from wherever you put it. Put them in proper holders. If you've got one like this which doesn't have a holder to it, if you use a jar like that which is heat proof, put it into the bottom of that and put some water in the bottom. Okay, now when you go to bed, make sure, or even if you leave the room, that you put the candle out. Please don't lean across the top of candles. Your clothes or your hair may catch on fire. It is most important that you be very, very careful. And also make sure that there's no draft blowing the flame into anything else that you have not seen. Always be aware of what flammable material is around the candle. Never, never put it anywhere near that anything is flammable. Now, the best candles are the ones in a glass bottle, where you can actually push the top on as well. But make sure that you put the flame out before you put the top on, because they do smoulder and they could fire up again. So if you just put them out either by blowing them in the bottle or putting that on the top of it, that will douse it. Then put your airtight top on, which will stop any more generation of any heat or flame. On candles that you make up like that, or like that, when you come to put them out, again the same principle. When you're going to bed, put them all out and make sure they are out before you leave them. So the easiest way to put them out is not to blow them, because you might send sparks or something into something that's fairly close. Put a spoon like this, wet it, put it on the top. That will put that candle out. Likewise, on one like that, put it on the top that way on, because you can get the spoon inside. Okay, so I hope you enjoy all the candles at Christmas. This is a smelly candle, and of course the thing is, when they're like that, the hot wax, which is the thing that releases the nice Christmassy smell from them, can easily be knocked over and cause a lot of burning even on your hands. So please, please be very, very careful and enjoy Christmas. I don't know what it's going to be like, and neither do you, as far as I'm aware. But whatever you're doing and wherever you are over Christmas time, please be safe and please be sound. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. The question is, why should you never have lighted candles near your Christmas tree or curtains? Now it's over to Heather talking about first aid.
Hello, Heather here, and I'm going to go through the recovery position with you. The first thing that we've got to think about is assess the dangers. Now, this could be your mom, your friends, and it's important that we don't put ourselves in danger, and it's very important that we check the area very quickly. So I'm checking the area, I'm checking for any water, any electrical items, any glass. Next, I need to check the response on my casualty. So I need to tap them, talk to them, and see if I get any response. And I might get a little bit of verbal response, I might get a little bit of a twitch, or a little bit of a body movement, but I'm going to check to see if they're okay. So by this, all I do is tap to them on the shoulders and say, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And talk to them in their ear. I'm not getting no response, and when I'm looking at response, I'm looking at the face to see if the face has got any colour, whether the blue or pale or clammy. Then my next thing is check the airway and make sure that the airway is okay. So I would then look at the head. So I look at the head, tilt the head back and open inside the mouth and check there's nothing in there like choking on objects, or they haven't choked, or any sick. Then once I've done that, I check for normal breathing and I listen, I look down and I feel for breath on my cheek. So I'm going to show you now. And I do that for 10 seconds. So once I've done that for 10 seconds, I can hear breathing and I'm happy. And I'm happy that they are definitely alive and breathing, and I don't need to do CPR. However, if they're on the back and they'd be sick, that sick or the tongue could actually block their airway. It's very important to open the airway is to put them into the recovery position. Now, the way that I remember the recovery position and the way that I do teach it is the dab. Everybody knows the dab. However, there's a little bit of a thing and I need to change it a little bit. So this hand does not go up here, it goes here. And while I'm lifting this hand to do over my face, I then lift up the same leg. Okay? So I'll try and do it here. So like that. Okay? I'm going to demonstrate that on Chelsea. So my first hand is stop. This one is face slap and then leg up. Or you can do stop, leg up, face slap. Okay, I'm going to show Chelsea, show it on Chelsea, and then hopefully you can then practice. Either put yourself in recovery position when you get home, or if you've got time today, or you can help and put your mum or your dad or your brother or sister in recovery. So I'm going to show you on Chelsea how we would put somebody in the recovery position. So I'm sitting next to the casualty. So first is stop. So I move that hand there, and then I'll concentrate on the opposite side of the body. So leg up, and then use your hand to support that leg. If I let my hand go, it'll flop. It's not good for the casualty. Like so, and then my other hand, face slap, and then you use this leg then to lever them towards you. Bring this leg up and then open the airway. So what we do now is constantly check for airway, make sure that they are breathing, and we stay with our casualty. We don't go upstairs and play on the Xbox, and we don't make ourselves a cup of tea. And so what we need to do is stay with the casualty. Our hand is constantly in front of their face so we can check an ongoing assessment of breathing. At some point, as soon as that casualty has been put in the recovery position, it's very important to call 999. They might have a cardiac arrest, which means that they might stop breathing. So please, you need to call 999 and get the ambulance on the way. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed and have some fun putting yourselves or other people in the recovery position. Bye for now.
Thank you, Heather. The question is, after you've placed your casualty in the recovery position, what do you keep checking until medical help arrives? Now it's over to Andy with a festive themed talk.
Hi everyone, it's Andrew Smith, Tamworth Borough Council. Hope you're okay, hope you're all excited getting ready for Christmas. I certainly am now. Done most of my shopping. I'm quite organised for me this year. Basically today's going to be a slightly different one. It's just really me saying a thank you really, and then I'm also going to ask you to have a think about something, and I'll share something with you at the end of the video. But I just really want to say thank you for watching for all these weeks, because this will be my last one of these for a while. I might be back in the summer, but I've got a new job that I'll be doing. But I've been really impressed with the amount of you watching, with the great answers you've gave. And I've really, really enjoyed working with Learn Live as well, and all of you have been able to bring you all of this through these strange times. So thank you very much. And I, for one, can't wait for Christmas. The 12 days of Christmas, absolutely love it. Okay, love all of it. Love spending time with the people that mean a lot to me. And I think this year in particular, I think it's really made us feel how important family and friends are, isn't it? It's not really what you have. It's not really about the material things. Obviously, it's lovely to get gifts and things and presents and stuff, but it really is about the people you share Christmas with, isn't it? And about your family and friends. It's really, really important. So I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas and you enjoy it with the people that matter to you, and you're able to have a really, really lovely time. And obviously it'd be nice as well. I'm sure you'll get a few gifts and give a few gifts to people, and that's fantastic as well. And that's really, really important. But I hope you have a fantastic time. Now, just before we carry on, and maybe you can put this in the live chat if possible, I'll share with you at the end of this my favourite Christmas song ever, because obviously it's Christmas, isn't it? So coming up, and a lot of us like listening to Christmas music at this time. So I'd be interested to know, if you've got time during the rest of the talk, if you put down what your favourite Christmas song is. It can be a pop song, it can be an old song, it can be a carol, anything like that. It doesn't, whatever is your favourite song, and I'll share with you what is mine at the end. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. I wouldn't do that to anybody. But yeah, I'd be really interested to know. Okay. The other thing I just want to say is make sure you stay nice and safe over Christmas as well. Think about all the talks that I've done with you. You know, particularly if you get a new bike and you're able to go out, remember to wear that helmet. Make sure you wear something nice and bright if you go out in the dull weather or it's later at night. Okay, remember all those things I talked about. If we get cold weather, the snow and the ice, be really careful. And if we do get any snow over Christmas, what a bonus. Make sure that you play in a sensible place and you don't end up doing silly things like we discussed, like throwing snowballs at traffic and things like that, which I'm sure none of you will do. Okay. And the other thing, because it does happen, particularly at Christmas, when people get new phones and things like that, and use social media and play on online games, I'm sure nobody here would, but never get involved with any of the online bullying that we've talked about as well. That's not a nice thing to do. It's not a nice thing to do at Christmas, but it's not a nice thing to do at any time of year. Okay, so please don't get involved in anything like that. And of course, remember, if anything like that is happening to you, tell somebody as soon as possible, because that's really, really important, and you can get help with that then, can't you? That's massively important. So, like I said, just think about all the safety things we've talked about over the weeks. We've talked about loads, and you gave some great answers, so I'm sure you're all aware of what you should and shouldn't be doing. Now, do have a think again what your favourite Christmas song is of all time, and I'm going to share that with you at the end. But it just remains me really to say one last thank you again to all of you for watching throughout this. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm going to miss it. I'll still try and tune in when I can, or watch on catch up the ones that will be going on after Christmas, because I think it's very informative, it's very interesting and very important. Okay, so please all take care, have an absolutely amazing Christmas, look after each other, stay safe. Okay, that's really important. So my favourite ever Christmas song, and some of you I'm sure will have heard this because it's often played a lot, is actually by somebody called Shakin' Stevens, and it's called Merry Christmas Everyone, which I'm sure you'll know. And I'm not going to sing it, unfortunately. If you want to look that up and play the video, you can, but that's my favourite. Closely followed by, I like Wham's Last Christmas, which is another one of my favourites. Which other ones do I like as well? I might as well tell you. My favourite carol is actually Silent Night. I love that one. That's one of my favourites as well. I also like Band-Aid, Do They Know It's Christmas? I like Kirsty MacColl and the Pogues, The Fairy Tale of New York. All of those songs all remind me of lovely times I've had over Christmas, and I always get excited when I hear them. So hopefully you've shared some of yours in the live chat, because I'd find that very interesting. And and I'll just say, have a lovely Christmas. Thank you all so much for everything. Stay safe and look after each other. Take care.
Thank you, Andy. The question is, how many days of Christmas are there? And now over to Sandy with a reminder for us.
La 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 la. Sticking the pasta down with some glue and tissue paper. Oops, I've stuck it to me too. Whoops. Get off. Voila. Oh, hey up. I'm Sandy. Ruff. And this is me too. I was just making a picture of myself out of bits of pasta and some PVA glue. It's really easy and fun. Maybe you want to try it at home too. Oh, I have made a terrible mess. It's going to take ages to clean it all up. Unless I do a hardcore cleaning montage! Mind you, they usually lead to even more mess. No, I'll be super careful this time. Away! Ruff, ruff! For you. Well, that was productive. Clean room, clean mind. Now I can get back to something fun.
Hey up, duck.
Archie, what are you doing? You didn't wash your hands when you came in.
No. It's okay though, Sandy. I'm not sick or anything.
That's not the right way to think about it, Archie. Don't you remember the diagram I drew? Observe. When we meet friends or play outside, we can sometimes pick up germs and other nasties. Some of these germs seem big and strong and can make us sick, but we can keep them away with soap and water.
Ooh, bubbles.
Stay with me, Archie.
Sorry, Sandy.
What a drip! See, Archie, if we stay clean and wash our hands regularly, that can make germs weak. And that helps our immune system do the rest.
Oh, I see. So I should be careful about biting my fingers or touching my face outside too.
Yep. Avoid that when you're outside. Then, when you get home, make sure you wash your hands for 20 seconds with some soap and warm water.
How will I know when it's 20 seconds?
Just sing happy birthday twice. You love singing that.
Yeah, especially when there's cake at the end.
Yeah. Come on, Archie. Let's go clean up. Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll be back again soon. Ruff, ruff. Bye.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sandy. Happy birthday to you. Oh. Can we have cake now?
Thank you, Sandy. The question is, how long should you wash your hands for? Now it's over to Tom, a community safety officer, talking about electrical safety.
Safety Officer with Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service, and today's session is going to be about electrical safety. So we're going to look at the potential dangers that can come from electrical items and equipment, and we're also going to look at how we can make sure that we keep ourselves safe. Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. Here we've got a plug socket, and this is how the electricity is transferred through the property into our items that we want to power on, whether that's a mobile phone, television, maybe a lamp. Okay, so there's lots of wiring behind the socket which brings the electricity into the property, and then how do we get the electricity into the item that we want to power? We plug that item in. Okay, so you plug into the socket and you switch on. Okay, and that now allows the electricity to flow from the socket into the plug and through the wiring into our items. Now, each individual plug socket offers 13 amps of power. Okay, so amps is the unit that we're using here. And each socket has a maximum of 13 amps available. Okay, now each different item will require a different amount of power or amps to work. So for example, something like a mobile phone charger will be very low on the scale of amps, maybe 1, 3 at an absolute maximum. Okay, something like a television, maybe up to 5 amps of power. But then things that get hot generally, so we're talking hoovers, hair dryers, kettles, anything that gets hot will need 13 amps worth of power alone. Okay, so if each socket offers a maximum of 13 amps, anything like that that gets hot will need to be straight into the socket alone. It cannot share a plug socket with anything else, otherwise we run the risk of overrunning that power supply. And the potential dangers there are that the power supply or the plugs or the sockets will overheat and possibly even cause a fire. Okay, so it's important that we remember the maximum amount of amps that can come off each plug socket. So sometimes it might be the case that we need to plug more items in than sockets are available. Okay, and in that case you might find one of these, an extension lead. Okay, they often look like this. Sometimes you'll see this type where they can be wound in and out, and sometimes you'll even find them in a compact block or square where you can add more plugs in. Okay, and in principle there's nothing wrong with the use of extension leads as long as we use them safely. Okay, so if we are plugging an extension lead in, okay, because we've got more than one item that we need to power, we'll start to add each item that we need to power into the extension lead. Okay, but it's important to remember that each plug socket has a maximum amount of power that it can provide. Okay, and that's in amps, and we spoke about that a little bit earlier on. So can you remember the maximum amount of power or amps that each single plug socket can provide? So the answer to the question is 13 amps. So well done if you managed to get that. So when we are plugging items in, it's important that we make sure that we don't exceed that 13 amp rule, and we can check what amp each item is by looking at the plug socket. The plug will detail exactly what amp this item is and how much power it's going to demand. Okay, so it's just important that as we add more and more items into an extension lead, we're ensuring to check how much power each item requires to not go over the 13 amps in total. So first of all, here we are in the living room then, and we've got 3 electrical items. We've got an electric fan heater, a lamp, and a TV. So my question is, can you guys tell me which of these 3 items uses the most power? The correct answer is the electric fan heater. So well done if you selected that as your answer. The electric fan heater draws 13 amps worth of power alone. So as we discussed earlier, this would need to be plugged directly into a wall socket alone, not sharing an extension lead with other electrical items. So here we are now in the kitchen, And again, we've got 3 electrical appliances. We've got a dishwasher, a microwave and a kettle. And again, the question's the same. Which of these 3 electrical appliances do you think draws the most power? So the answer to this question is the kettle. So well done if you pick the kettle. Although each 3 of these items may well contain a 13 amp fuse when you look at the plug, generally a dishwasher runs at about 10 amps, a microwave around about 5 amps. However, the kettle will always run at a maximum 13 amps of power. So it's important, like what we discussed earlier, that items like that are plugged directly into a wall socket and that they're not sharing an extension lead with other electrical items potentially overloading. Okay, so this time we're in the bedroom and we've got 3 appliances here which are commonly found in the bedroom. So we've got a mobile phone there that's on charge, we've got a hairdryer, and we've also got a games console there. So again, which of the 3 items do you think uses the most power out of these 3? The correct answer is the hairdryer in this situation. So the hairdryer will be fitted with a 13 amp fuse. So again, as discussed previously, it needs to be plugged directly into a wall socket alone, not sharing an extension lead with any other electrical items, so we don't run the risk of overloading. And just whilst we're talking about electrical safety within the bedroom, another important point that we need to note is that we must never charge our iPads, our tablets, our mobile phones, any electrical item. We must never charge them underneath our pillow, because when we charge tablets or phones, do they get cold? No, they get hot, don't they? Sometimes very hot. So it's important that we give them the space to breathe and that we charge them up on a flat, hard surface, not underneath a pillow, and that before we go to sleep at night, we always unplug the charger and switch it off at the plug. We don't leave anything on charge overnight. So we've just seen then that different items require different amounts of electrical power, and some use more than others. So what are the dangers if we were to take 2 high power items, such as the electric heater and the hairdryer, and plug them into the same extension lead together? Well, instantly, we're going to be overrunning that plug socket now, okay? And the demand for energy can cause the socket to overheat, which can, in turn, cause a fire, okay? And that fire may start at the socket, but could potentially spread to other parts of the house. So it's important that, as discussed before, any high power items are plugged directly into a wall socket alone, and they're not sharing an extension lead with other electrical items. And the signs that we can look out for are any sparks, any smouldering, any smell of burning, or any burn marks present on a plug socket. Okay? If you see any of those signs, it's important that you tell a grown-up straight away so that that can be looked at. So now we're just going to go through the top 5 tips for staying safe around sockets. Number 1, only ever plug one item into one socket. Number 2, avoid the block square adapters where possible. If you do need to use an adapter, make sure that you use one of these strip type extension adapters, or if you are going to use a real adapter, ensure that the wire is fully reeled out, that there's no coil left, because that will get hot and could potentially catch fire. And also, important to remember what we discussed earlier, if you are using an extension lead, ensure to check the power of each item to make sure that you're not overloading the socket and going above the 13 amps available. Tip number 3, always turn sockets off before going to bed at night. And avoid, where possible, charging electrical devices overnight, as they may overheat and this could cause a fire. Number 4, never use 2 high-powered items from one plug socket. And finally, tip number 5, never use water near a plug socket. So that's the end of the session. Thanks for playing along. Now that we've learned a little bit about electrical safety, it might be a good idea to check your own home when you get in. Have a look to see if you can see anything that you think is unsafe, and if so, tell a grown-up and get it checked. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tom. Question is, what are the signs of an overloaded plug socket? So, thank you very much to all our presenters and partners this week. In a change to the usual format, the answers to the questions are going to be displayed for about a minute after Ellie signs off, so you have a chance to check them all. Please wait for that. So that's all for this week. More safety messages next week, or even next year now, sorry to say. Thank you, Learn Live, for all your hard work putting this programme together for us. Remember, it will be available on demand on Learn Live for you to view at any time and for you to share with others, please. It just remains for me, on behalf of Safe and Sound team and everyone at Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service, to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you all again on Wednesday the 6th of January at 10 o'clock. Take care, and remember, hands, face, space.
Thank you, Paul, for hosting this extremely important broadcast today. And, like Paul said, there'll be more of these broadcasts coming up over the next few weeks, so please keep watching. I just want to say another thank you to all of the speakers that we have heard from today. Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service, HMB Training, Tamworth Borough Council and Sporting Communities. The tips that have been given today are so important. So, thank you. And, as Paul said, if you have any questions for any of our speakers today, please leave them in the live chat where they will get back to you as soon as possible. That's all from us today. See you this time next year on the 6th of January 2021 as we have more speakers from Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service and their partners and agencies. You won't want to miss it. Stay safe and Merry Christmas.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.